Hi guys, how are you doing today? This is Donna. I thought that I would color out of my Johanna's Christmas book. I have not really touched it much this season, so I thought it would be fun to pull out. You'll have to excuse me. I am under the weather. I started antibiotics today, so I am living off of coffee and hard candies to soothe my throat and try to stop the itching and coughing. I thought I was gonna, today I would color with my AEN Art gel pens inside of the book. And this is them. I have turned the the little plates around and swatched out the colors so I would know, have an idea of what the colors were. This is the 100 set of their glitter gel pens. I have used these in the past, and for the price, I am well pleased with these. So that's what I'm going to use today. I will leave a link in the description to these on Amazon. They are very budget friendly. At the time I bought mine, they were having a lightning deal. I was able to get the 100 for $9.99. The price is up now, but I still believe that it's a good value for 100 of the glitter gel pens. They have sets that are not just glitter also, but I really prefer metallics and glitter. They seem to work better, in my opinion, than the others. Especially the pastels and the neons. To me, they tend to be a little scratchy. So I generally go for the neon or the glitters. This set does include some neon glitters, which does come in handy. And I'm going to be reaching across this a lot for colors. I'm sorry. I haven't planned any of this out. So the only thing I know for sure is I wanted to go with more of a pink, the pinkish, bluish, greenish kind of look instead of traditional Christmas colors. So let's see. I know some people had asked if I could start zooming in a little more, so I'll try to do that when I color. So how are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing very well. It is Friday, and the first pen wants to act silly on me. It's cold today here, and where they've been stored, I think when gel pens get cold, they tend to not work as well. There we go. And I think humidity plays a part also, I've noticed. It gets very humid here in the summer times. So my husband and I went and looked at Christmas lights together Wednesday night. And that was lots of fun. We just rode around on the back roads and looked at the different lights that were up in the neighborhoods. And we stopped by Dunkin' Donuts, and I got a donut and a cappuccino. He just took a black coffee. He is diabetic, and that's been acting up ever since he was sick with this nasty cold stuff that apparently I have now. The doctor had given him a prednisone shot, which raised his blood sugar really, really high, over 300. Now it is back lower, but we're having to be very careful with what he ingests, which is really hard around the holidays. He has a very bad sweet tooth. Luckily, we found out that there is lots of carb smart, no sugar, diabetic friendly sweets that he can eat from different types of cookies, cakes, ice creams. So that has been a lifesaver for him. There is a neighborhood that I still want, excuse me, to go visit to see their lights. They call it Christmas Lane, and most of the people who live on the street decorate all their homes and their garages and yards and, you know, during the holidays, and it is so, so pretty to look at. I have pictures from my children when they were small standing with all these decorations. A lot of them, maybe you guys have seen these, they will take wood and do cutouts of different things, whether it is like maybe Charlie Brown's Christmas or Disney, or, you know, even just your traditional more Little Drummer Boys, Nutcrackers, Angels, nativity scenes. And they'll do these out of wood, and then they hand paint those, and they put them in their yard with lights that shine on them to light them up. They have this one Christmas castle. It is huge, and it is so pretty, all lit up with a big Santa out there as well. Some of the houses play music also, and it's a really neat little experience. But, you know, so far this season, the weather has been, one day it'll be just really cold, and the next day it'll be warm, but it'll be raining, and the next day it'll be cold and raining. And it's just been crazy weather this year. So we have not been able to do that yet. And usually what we'll do is we go down. It's quite a drive. It's about an hour and a half away probably. And we'll go down and get, you know, cappuccinos and things like that, and bundle up and walk through the neighborhood and see everything, and then drive back. So it's just kind of a little tradition that both of our families have had. My husband was taken there when he was a child, and so was I, and then we continued that with our children. So it's just a really neat thing to look forward to around the holidays. We were finally able to put a few decorations in our yard yesterday, the 12th. So only or the 13th. I'm not sure. Sorry. I'm losing track of days. But it's kind of late, but it's up. They're mostly inflatables. And there's a Grinch and a Santa with his wife and a snowman family and a nativity. We did not do any lights on the house. My husband's back is just too bad. He just can't do that. Right now, he has two, I guess, herniated discs in his back. He needs surgery very badly. But the surgeon has told him that in his line of work, he's a firefighter, that if he were to get the surgery now, with retirement still, now it's about 8 years away. Then it was longer. But, you know, with it being so far away from retirement, that chances are another disc would just go and he would have to have surgery again. So the surgeon recommended that he hold off on that as long as possible. But his back hurts a lot from this, and he tries not to lift anything unless he absolutely has to, because we're just kind of, nursing that back along. Just putting up the lights that we did put up yesterday, just the inflatables. By the time he came in the house, he couldn't hardly walk the rest of the night, so surgery might be a lot closer than we were hoping. And then we found out that his blood pressure has been completely out of control. And we, unfortunately, through some tests that he had taken, has found out that it is possible that the arteries leading to his kidneys are narrowed, which is restricting blood and causing his blood pressure to run extremely high. We have one more test to take to try to confirm that, and then we may be looking at surgery for that very soon. His bottom numbers have been up to like 120, and I think like 120 over 80 is considered normal, and his has been like 160 over 110, 170 over 120. It's been pretty bad, like stroke levels. And I know they say that the bottom number is truly the most critical, and so that's been pretty high. So we're trying to keep an eye on that. And the poor guy, he had to go move some things with my son day before yesterday from their hunting property. The lease is not being renewed, so they have until the 31st to get everything off this property, and there is so much down there. And they went down to do that, well, to do part of that, and the transmission went out in my husband's SUV. So we no longer have a four-wheel drive. Oh, goodness. So it's kind of been one thing after another lately. But we will pull through. I mean, do you guys ever have times like that when you're just kind of like, oh, what else can go wrong? And you're afraid to ask that question because you know so much more can go wrong. But hopefully we will be able to find a replacement. The SUV is not really worth replacing. It's as old as our son. It is a 93 Nissan Pathfinder, but it has been a wonderful SUV. We have enjoyed it so much, and it's still in good shape, but the mechanic has told us that with the prices of the parts for those now, and he said by the time you figure in what it would take to replace that transmission, we would have been much better off just getting another vehicle. And what really kind of sucks about that whole thing is in October, its tires had been getting really bad for a while, and it needed new tires. And we just kind of been nursing it along, and because we don't drive it a lot. We have another car that he uses to go back and forth to work, and I have my car that I use just here locally when I go out shopping and things like that. The only time we really used the SUV was for camping, or when he was hunting, or we needed to haul something, pull something. That's when we used it. But it had gotten to the point that there wasn't a spare tire anymore because he had used the spare tire to replace a really bad tire, and the other tires needed replaced so bad. And so in October, we were faced with, we don't have a choice, we've got to do this. And I told him then, I said, if we spend that kind of money to replace those tires, it is a death sentence for that truck, because we knew the transmission was going out. It had been going out for, oh goodness, over a year that we had noticed it was having really bad problems. And sure enough, we spent almost $500, I think it was, to replace the tires on that truck. And lo and behold, that was October. Here we are in December, and the transmission is done. It will go forward. It no longer has a reverse. So, what can you do, right? If it's not one thing, it is definitely another. And that's with everything always, it seems. So we shall see. I know I'm trying to keep a positive attitude about everything. There's a reason for everything, always. So are you guys ready for Christmas? It's only 11 days away. Maybe 10, depending on when you're watching this video. I am ready. We really aren't having a huge Christmas this year. Finances just really would not allow for that this year. And I'm glad that I did not try to find a way to make finances work for that after the things that has happened. But my children's gifts are bought. My niece and my nephew's is bought. And that's mainly who we were, buying for. The adults don't exchange gifts often. It's kind of like an optional thing. Because, as families grow, it just becomes, so expensive to even think about, a gift for every single person that you know or that you're related to. And I think Christmas has gotten so commercialized. They're generally putting all the decorations up in October, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're not even to Halloween yet. So generally, by the time Christmas gets here, I am so ready. I'm ready to just get that over with and move on. And I love Christmas, but, I can only take so much of it. But I'll be glad. Hopefully when things calm down a little. It's just been stressful. So this year, nothing's really, we haven't really been able to plan like normal. And So I was watching, I believe it was Zoe Archer the other day, and she was doing a color in chat and was asking her viewers what their favorite things about Christmas was and sharing what hers were. And I thought that was a really neat little idea. So maybe we can do that. And Zoe, if you ever see this, you'll know that I saw your video and I was answering you here. So let's see. What is your favorite Christmas food? For me, that would be turkey and dressing. What is your favorite Christmas treat? Mine is, let's see, I like the Cordal cherries at Christmas time. And I really like the Christmas hard candy, especially the ones that are shaped like ribbon. I haven't been able to find those in the past couple years, but I really like those two, and that's what I think I associate most with Christmas. At Halloween, you know, it's all about the candy corn. I prefer the candy pumpkins. Those are really awesome. Easter, I want Cadbury mini eggs. So, and I normally don't eat those things any other times of the year. So, those are my favorite Christmas candies or treats. I also like gingerbread. It's very good. What is your favorite Christmas song? I like Mary Did You Know as far as religious themed, and also The Little Drummer Boy is good too, and Carol of the Bells. Right now, those have been my favorites, at least for the past few years. What is your favorite Christmas movie? Mine is, I have a few of those. I really love The Christmas Story with Ralphie and You'll Shoot Your Eye Out, You'll Shoot Your Eye Out. I really like that. I love it when the little kid gets his tongue stuck on the pole. Yeah, I really like that. And I love Tim Curry's The Grinch. My husband does not like Tim Curry, so we are totally different there. I love Tim Curry, and I loved his rendition of The Grinch. I watch that every year. And I love the movie Elf. Son of a nutcracker. Last year, I was like, oh, I'm going to say that all year, and I didn't. I kind of forgot about it after a couple months, and then I was watching the movie just the other day, and it got to that part, and again, I was like, son of a nutcracker. I love it, I love it, I love it. So that's my favorite there. What about your favorite Christmas cartoon? For me, again, there's probably a couple. It's hard to choose just one. I really, really love 'Twas the Night Before Christmas with Mr. Trundle and Papa Mouse and his family. I absolutely love that one. That is probably my ultimate favorite. And then I really like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But I adore A Charlie Brown's Christmas. That's a must. And of course the Grinch. The Grinch Christmas cartoon. It's so hard to pick. I have so many fond memories from those cartoons from when I was a child. So, yeah, I used to love, love, love watching those. Do you have any favorite traditions for Christmas time? The traditions in my family has changed so many times because of different things, you know, that's happened or went on within our family. So it's really hard to say about specific tradition. I just generally, you know, love Christmas. I like putting up the Christmas tree on Thanksgiving Day. I did not do that this year, but that is generally something, and that's a tradition that kind of stuck even from childhood. And we've always, growing up, I always had artificial Christmas trees because my father was allergic to the live tree. It would just tear his allergies and sinuses up so bad. So we always had those. So it wasn't hard to, you know, put that up on Thanksgiving and keep that until Christmas. I know that's kind of hard to do sometimes with the live trees, but that was a lot of fun. You know, we would have Thanksgiving dinner, and then we would pull out all the Christmas decorations and check all the lights. And to me, there's just something really awesome about opening up your box of Christmas ornaments every year and getting to see those and touch those. And, you know, they're so pretty, and there's so many, you know, different, you know, memories and things that they kind of bring to mind. So, I think going through the decorations is probably one of my top favorite things to do. I don't know. What else can we ask? Do you guys have any questions of, you know, would you like to ask me anything about what my favorite of this or that? I'd be happy to answer those. It might be fun. Do you guys have any special plans this year for Christmas? I'm not sure if I've asked you guys that before. For us, no. We have some family that's coming on the 22nd for a small gathering because they will not be here in town on the 24th or 25th. So there's that. My husband is off this Christmas. He worked last Christmas. But I think my son may have to work this Christmas. which would be a bummer, but his wife will be around and will probably be with her part of the day unless she goes to her family's in Savannah. I will spend time with my parents, and of course we'll be here during the day also with my mother-in-law. My other son, unfortunately, is in Iraq this year with the military, so he will not be here for Christmas, and his wife is living in Texas right now, and she will not be here for Christmas. So it's just going to be a really small time, but that's okay. I mean, I'm sure we'll... I've asked my husband if maybe we could go to the movies this Christmas. I thought that might be something to do since it may just be me and him, other than spending a little time with his mother and my parents. So that's a possibility. We'll see. But I like small, quiet Christmases. I don't like a lot of loudness and things like that. At least not anymore. I did when I was younger. So I'm okay with that. Now, next year, I'm hoping and praying that both of my sons can be here and their wives. And or that at least we can be somewhere all together and make maybe a huge, maybe Christmas next year. One thing I would like to do so much, because I love looking at Christmas lights. One Christmas time, not necessarily Christmas Day, because flights are so expensive right at, Christmas. But what I want to do is actually to go to New York City. I want to walk around and look at the storefront windows. Does anyone know if all the stores still decorate a lot for that? I heard that they did. I've only seen that kind of thing on movies, and I just would love to go and see that, in person. All the different storefront windows, all decorated and everything. I think that would be so much fun. So I don't know if that's something we would be able to do during next season, but I would love to do that if God's willing. Is there anything special where you live that is done in your town for Christmas or the Christmas season? We have our town parade, which was unfortunately canceled this year. It rained so bad the day of the parade. And we have that and the big tree lighting ceremony. So it was a shame that had to be canceled. But I really can't think of anything else specific that our town does for the holiday. So I was curious what other people's towns may do. Oh, and I was excited this morning. I was up very early and I was looking on Facebook, and you know how Facebook puts Target ads all over the place. And my husband, bless his soul, still is in love with Crocs. He wears them all the time. He says they're very comfortable on his feet. He loves that they are, that they're very breathable and things like that. And Crocs had an ad on Facebook this morning. They had a sale for 2 pairs of Crocs for $35, which I believe is a great deal because it's hard to find my husband's size in the local store, and our local Crocs store went out of business, and the only place we really have to buy them now is at this sports store, and they don't carry a lot of sizes. So I was able to pick him up 2 pairs of Crocs for Christmas, and I got those, and they're ordered, so hopefully they will definitely make it here before Christmas. If they don't, that's okay, because it's just something that he needs periodically through the year anyway. Oh, I smudged it a little right here. When you're using gel pens, you have to be real careful. And I've noticed I haven't been. I've let my hand just kind of go around, and can't really do that when you're working with gel pens. You will mess up your art every time. So that's a bummer. And generally a lot of times what I'll do is I will start and work, because I'm right-handed, I'll start on the left and work across to the right side of the page. That way things can kind of be drying that are already done. That way when it's time to come back, it's pretty well dry and you don't have to worry about the smudging. But, it's a necessary evil, and I love gel pens because they're so shiny and sparkly, and you just have to be a little careful about that. And these are my AEN Arts. There'll be a link to these. I think they work really well. I have a set of Colorits, and I believe these work just as well as my Colorits, and there were a lot more colors available in these, so I think they're a great deal. So there'll be a link for that if you guys are interested. And I have a set of gel pens that I'll be doing a full review on probably the first week of January. I'm excited to try those. I have not even opened the box. I received them and I immediately put the box to the side. I'm going to open those on camera with you guys and do the review. So it'll be my initial thoughts on them straight out of the box. Fun. And I ordered another 100 set of glitter gel pens that should be arriving, I believe, on Saturday, and I will share those with you guys very soon. Also, I really want to try all the different budget-friendly brands of gel pens to see what's out there, because the gel pens are great about, not bleeding through your paper. So it's easy to use those in your double-sided books. We all know I'm a marker girl. I'm going to work on this whole pencil thing in the upcoming year. I've started using it more to kind of put some shading and depth and dimension into pictures that I do with marker on like the Create Space paper, and also for some backgrounds. And I'm going to start working towards doing just full pictures with the pencils. So you guys will kind of get to see my growth with pencils firsthand. And That would be neat. I'm kind of interested to see if I can improve, because in my opinion, my pencil work looks like a hot mess, truly. But I love working with the gel pens because I can work in double-sided books that I would never put marker down on. So I want to try those different budget ones and see which ones are worth the money and which ones should kind of just be passed on. I know I have had some gel pens in the past when I first started adult coloring, and they were horrible. And of course, I bought the cheapest I could absolutely find. They were no names, straight from the big boat in China. It took 3 weeks to get here, and I was just very disappointed. So, and they seem to run out of ink super fast. Gel pens do anyway if you color with them. If you do anything more than just highlight, you're going to have problems with them kind of running out of ink fairly quickly. That seems to be a running theme that I see when I look at reviews. I'll see people say, you know, it ran out of ink so fast. But you have to realize, you know, what you're working with and the type of medium it is. And I think gel pens more than anything were made for journaling and writing, or maybe drawing, not coloring. They work great for coloring, they do, but you have to be willing to understand that they do run out of ink very quickly in comparison to a marker or a pencil. But they're super great for little splashes of color and glitter, you know, just to kind of glitter things up and make things all nice and pretty. I'm struggling here trying to figure out what colors I want to use for different things. Oh, excuse me. So what are you guys coloring right now? And do you guys plan out your coloring pages? Like, do you look through your books and have pages marked that you want to color, that you go to, or do you just kind of pick up books and flip through and just color whatever speaks to you at the moment? That's what I generally do. And when I get a new book, I want to color in it as soon as possible. And I've picked up some books that, because I've been sticking with Christmas this whole month, because I have so many Christmas books that I kind of was like, oh, well, I like that one, and I like that one. And I picked up a lot of different books, and now I'm overloaded in Christmas. So it's like, nah, I have got to color in these. I got to. So I've got some books that I've picked up that I have found on sale and things like that, that, you know, are for just next year, during the year, or whenever, and they are calling to me so bad. And it's going to be so hard to decide what to color first once Christmas is over. In January, I'll be coloring a lot out of Jade Summer because we're having the It's All About Jade Summer color along. So that will be happening. So there will be some Jade Summer getting colored for sure. And that'll be fun. I'm not sure yet what else I'll be doing in January. I know I'll be doing the gel pen review. We'll be doing It's All About Jade Summer. I haven't decided yet if I want to try to pre-plan my months, at least somewhat, so you guys can have an idea of what I'm going to be doing, or if I just want to continue to kind of, you know, do things on the fly. What do you guys think? Would you rather have some sort of an idea of what's going to be going on? I know one thing that I really want to do is get a schedule for recording, and that's going to be hopefully much easier moving forward. Things are starting to get more back to normal around our house, and I should have more time where I am at the house alone, so it's just much easier to film when I am here alone. I had planned on doing a video this evening, and then I found myself alone, and I was like, oh no, what do I want to color? Grab the camera, turn it on, let's do this. I want to make more videos on a more frequent basis, and I think that's going to get a lot easier. So what happens is my husband works 24 hours on and 48 hours off. I want to be able to always film on the days he is on shift. So that's what I want to definitely do moving forward, is have things planned for those days that he's on shift, that we can be together here. I want to do some live streams in the new year. I think that would be fun. But I've been tossing around if I want to actually plan things more than just ideas. I'm not sure exactly what I'm trying to say. Hopefully you guys will understand. You know, some people will have, like, this All About Jade Summer. What I keep thinking is, do I want to say, okay, in January I'm doing Jade Summer, in February I'm doing Bennett Klein, in March I'm doing Deborah Muller, in April Heather Valentin. I mean, do I want to do that, or do I want to, you know, be more spontaneous? I think if I just allow myself to be more spontaneous, I really think we'll have more fun in the long run, because as I find really neat things, we can go with that. So, I mean, I don't know. Give me your ideas. You know, I don't want this to just be my channel. I want this to be our channel, where we can just kind of hang out and color and talk about products and what's going on with our lives, and, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, as of right now, the channel's name is Color with Donna, not Color at Donna. It's not Watch Donna Color. It's Color with Donna, and that was a purpose, not an accident. I want to be able to do these things together. I used to love to sit and listen to different color tubists while I colored. That's why the coloring chats to me were much more appealing than tutorials. If I wanted a specific tutorial, I looked up something very specific and I watched it. But other than that, I was listening to the coloring chats, because I was able to sit down and color and enjoy what I was doing, and I could hear the other person and they were enjoying what they were doing. And if something you know, special popped up that I really wanted to see or hear, I could stop what I was doing and watch what was going on the channel. And so I really, really, really enjoyed that. So when I wanted to get my channel up and running, that was kind of the direction I wanted to go in, was something that would be, sorry, I'm opening up the other side of these gel pens. It's loud, I know. Oh, and I just dropped them. Shame on me. Yeah, I just enjoy doing the coloring chats. And you guys tell me, you know, what you think. You're never really going to see tutorials on my channel because I don't feel like I am good enough at any of this coloring stuff to dare do tutorials. You know, you guys may see something and say, hey, you know, how do you do that? Like when I showed you guys how I put stickles onto something because I have been asked if I could show that. Sure, I don't have a problem in the world showing you guys how I do something, or, you know, how I use a specific product or hack that I've come up with, or, you know, whatever. That's great. I don't have a problem in the world doing it. But you are never going to see me sit down and say, okay, guys, I'm going to show you how to color X like this, or this is how you do Y. No, because I don't feel like I'm good enough for that. And there are people here on YouTube that are, and I think they're doing a jam up job with that. And I learn little tricks all the time from those people, and I love it. So love, love, love that there are tutorials out there. Not good enough, not confident enough to dare do that on my own. Even when I do reviews, I'm going to be real with you guys. I mean, I'm going to tell you what I think, and if I think this would work for me, and how I would use it in my coloring or in my art. But I'm not going to say this is how to use these, because there's so many different ways to use the same thing. You know, I mean, just like with the odorless mineral spirits, or the Gamsol as the name brand, you can put those in empty markers and use them that way, which is how I've learned that I really like to work with that. So you can do that. You can use a paintbrush to brush it on. You can use a water brush. You can use a blending stump. So, you know, there's several different ways to use that Gamsol, and none of it's right and none of it's wrong. It's just preference. So I would never tell someone this is how to use this or this is how to color that, because I don't feel like I'm good enough to do that. Now, if you ask me, and there may be times I say, hey, watch this. This is what I figured out. But tutorials, no, not me. I don't feel like I'm a teacher. Sometimes I have a hard time finding the words for what I want to say. But I try. Excuse me. I started to speak and I felt that congestion in my throat. I'm like, oh boy. I hate that. Sometimes I start to speak and I sound like a frog when I'm, you know, kind of sick like this. But what was I going to say? Oh, I was just going to say that I can't wait until I'm comfortable enough to pull out more of an in-depth, intricate type picture and sit down and say, okay, guys, we're going to color this. Watch me color. Because for me, I have to concentrate so hard when I color sometimes. And I don't know that I would be able to blend and shade and do all those things. And I think I'll get better with that over time. And you guys may think I'm crazy, but this is kind of what I've started doing. when I'm coloring and I'm not on camera, sometimes I talk to you guys. I mean, I really do, even with no camera rolling, and I know there's no camera rolling, and I am just talking away because I am trying to get accustomed to being able to color and think about other things at the same time. Thinking while I'm coloring is not the problem. Verbalizing my thoughts, I guess, is where the problem is. But I always talk to myself, so that's nothing new. Don't knock it till you've tried it. I have figured out a lot of my problems. I've solved a lot of my problems in my day just by talking to myself, because to hear it come out of my mouth, you know, when I say it, it just kind of, I don't know, it makes more sense. And so I talk myself through a lot of stuff. And once, I think I mentioned this on my coloring book collection video, once I'd asked my doctor if it was bad that I talked to myself, because I mean, and I was serious, because I had heard so many people, you know, say how bad it was to talk to yourself. And my doctor told me that it's okay to talk to yourself. It's okay to answer yourself. It is never okay to argue with yourself. So as long as you're not arguing with yourself, you should be fine. And that has not happened to me yet. This is actually one of the neons, so I don't know. I wanted to kind of, oh Lord, that is bright. That is not the brightness I was going for. Oh, but we'll go with it. I was just kind of wanting something a little brighter than that yellow to kind of be the inside of the star, but ooh, that is bright. That is very neon. And these neon glitters seem to work okay. But I do hope you guys will kind of stick with me and give me time to get more comfortable. I've come a long way, because I'm telling you, I have always been the type of person that would not stand up and speak in front of anybody. I did not want to be videoed. I don't like the sound of my voice recorded. And so yeah, I've just always kind of been, you know, that person that sat in the background. But I thought that doing these videos would be very therapeutic for me. It would give me an opportunity to kind of share my thoughts and things. Sadly, I really don't have a lot of friends locally that I hang out with or talk to on a regular basis. Don't get me wrong, I have some great friends, but life is busy, and so we don't really get together much. So this has been wonderful for me, since I don't work, to be able to kind of get my thoughts out there. And I'm afraid this may, at some point, I don't know what I'm trying to say there. I don't want to ever offend anybody with my thoughts about things. So I try to be very careful what I talk about and kind of vet that out in my mind. And I'm not trying to be politically correct, truly, because I think political correctness in a lot of ways is our problem. There's too many people trying to be politically correct. And I guess if it was just, and I see, this is me going to get myself in trouble here. I just don't think people should be rude. You know, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I think that everyone should have their opinion and be free to speak their opinion, as long as they're not rude or hateful in their opinion. And a lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people these days think that you can only speak your opinion if your opinion is in line with what is considered to be politically correct, socially acceptable. And who's to decide that, you know? So yeah, I'm going to try to be kind of careful with my thoughts and things, because sometimes I get very emotionally charged about certain topics. But I want to be able to talk and share with you guys and not just say, hey, I'm coloring this and hey, I'm choosing that color. And last week here in the county that we live in, one of our police officers was shot, and it was really sad. He actually basically shot himself. It was a situation where a guy had came to a dentist office and was just livid and showing his hiney, and the police had to come in and they tased the guy like 2 or 3 times, and it did not faze him. So the officer went, I guess, to try to handcuff and subdue the man, and the man managed to go, well, he went after the police officer's weapon, and the police officer was able to basically, in a fight for his life, pull the trigger, and it did hit the perpetrator, but it went through the perpetrator and into the face of the police officer. He's been in critical condition now for several days. It's very sad, and you know, I don't know if the gentleman who did this was on drugs. I'm sure he was on drugs. I mean, there's no other explanation in my mind to why he would have, you know, been acting the way he was acting if it wasn't for drugs. But I just say that to say that then again, last night, about 5 or 5:30, it hits the news that a couple counties, one county up, two counties up from where I'm at, there was an officer involved shooting again. The officer had pulled a car over for a traffic stop, and something happened. I'm not sure, you know, and the person who he had pulled over pulls a weapon and shot the police officer and then fled. They brought in other officers and a canine unit, and the canine unit tracked the person, and when they did find this person behind some buildings, the person still had the gun and immediately shot the canine dog. The police returned fire. I'm sorry, I'm not even on camera now. The police returned fire. The police officer and the suspect were both taken to a hospital in Atlanta. Both of them died last night as a result of the injuries. So luckily our police officer local is still in critical but stable at this time that I know of. And the officer last night, from last night, it was DeKalb County. If you guys are interested, you can look that up. It's DeKalb County, Georgia, Candler Road, Candler Road was the road that this took place on. If you guys want to look that up and read the whole story. That officer died last night. So my thoughts and prayers are with his family and with the family of, well, his police family in general, the department, because when you work in that line of work, you know, my husband's a firefighter for our county, and you are like a family. I mean, you truly are. And I just don't know. You know, that seems to be a big hot topic right now, is police violence and police shootings. And it's very sad. And I see a lot of people say, I don't care what the suspect's family, you know, but I'm not going to say that. My thoughts and prayers are with them also, not because I agree with what he did, but I think most sane people do not agree with what he did. I mean, you never just go out and shoot people randomly. You just don't do that. And I mean, we'll see what comes of all that, but it's just so, it's sad. And back in February of this year, my city lost a police officer to being shot in the face. He was helping to serve a warrant, and the person opened fire. And he died on scene. 2 other officers were shot that day also. They did survive. It's just, the violence is crazy. And it's hard to just move away from it these days because it's everywhere. I mean, here in the county that I live in, it used to be so safe. And then people started moving to the county right next to it to get away from the growth in our county. But now that county is overrun with gangs. So, and I mean, that county used to be so, country backwoods that it wasn't even funny. And now it's overrun with gangs and gang violence and drugs. And, it's like, where do you go to get away from these things? It's everywhere. So it's just, I don't know. The world has become a very, very scary place. And my thoughts and prayers also are with Stephanie's family. She was part of our coloring community. She passed away, I believe, yesterday. I did not know her. I have seen several people who I do know who did know her. And my thoughts and prayers are with her family in this very difficult time, especially right here before the Christmas season. It must be so terribly hard. And my thoughts and prayers are with them. Well, this picture is turning out a little different than I had imagined it, but that's okay. That's okay. And it seems like everything I sit down to do on camera doesn't turn out the way, I had it built up in my mind that it was going to look when I started the video. But that's okay. It will be all right. And I think a lot of that comes down to I can't concentrate really super well. I think what I may have to start doing is picking out my colors before I turn on the camera. That way there is a plan, because I think once I have a plan, I don't think coloring is the problem. I think my color schemes are the problem. And I've been struggling a little with that lately anyway, but so maybe that can be a goal, that I need to start planning out my pictures a little better. Unless they're videos where the whole idea is, spare the moment kind of thing. kind of like the video I did with Anne and the, goodness, I'm trying to think, the grayscale. My mind just went kaplut. I'm not listening to you. Oh, and Georgia had an earthquake. Yes. Well, actually, the earthquake happened in Decatur, Tennessee, which is about 135 miles, I believe. And it was felt in North Georgia. I personally did not feel it. I was asleep, and I somehow managed to stay asleep. So it was obviously not that bad here, but I can tell you that Bradley felt it. And the way I know that Bradley felt it is I woke up and I could not move. That poor dog had buried himself so deep into me. I sleep a lot in my comfy chair when my husband is at work, because my restless legs and stuff act up a lot, and sometimes it's just easier to just sleep in that chair. And I was out, and I woke up all of a sudden. I know it was still dark outside, and I'm thinking, I'm off camera again, sorry. And I was thinking that it was probably when that happens. But he was buried into me. I mean, he was dug in. And I would try to move him so I could adjust myself. And the more I tried to push this poor pup, the more he dug himself into me. I'm thinking that, you know, animals are much more sensitive than we are anyway. And I'm thinking that he sensed that earthquake and it scared him. But they said that places just a little further north than us, there were actually people who were calling 911. Now, I've got a question for you guys. Why do you dial 911 to ask the 911 operator if we're having an earthquake? Maybe that's only odd to me because I am married to an emergency responder. But the idea behind 911 is if you have an emergency. Whether or not we're having an earthquake is not an emergency, because guess what? If your house is falling or anything, then yes, it's an emergency. But if you're calling because you feel the ground shake, it is just as strange to that 911 operator as it is strange to you. I mean, you know. But there was calls coming into 911. You know, are we having an earthquake and stuff? So, I don't know. And that may be one of those things that I shouldn't have said because it wasn't a politically correct idea. But, I mean, it just, the abuse of the 911 system just blows my mind. And most of you, you know, well, a lot of you may be thinking, well, that's just rude. If you have if someone thinks they have an emergency, they should. I agree. If you really think you have an emergency, for goodness sakes, please call 911. But when you call 911, be prepared, you know, to go to the hospital or something. Some people will call, you know, my husband is a paramedic firefighter. People will call in the middle of the night. We're talking 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And they want to have a paramedic come out because, and I am not kidding you when I say this, their toe's been hurting for 3 or 4 days, okay? Seriously. At 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, their toe's hurting. And they need to go to the hospital. Was your toe not hurting at 6 o'clock this afternoon? You just said that your toe's been hurting for the past 4 days, 3 or 4 days. Why have you not already been to the hospital? And then our guys will get out to some of these houses and small children are still up running around and playing and stuff in the house. And you're like, why are you guys not asleep? It's insane. It really is. I could do a whole video on crazy calls that I've heard about. Crazy things people have called 911 about. There was a lady once that called 911 and she wanted to report a gas leak. And that is something to definitely call 911 about. You need to call the gas company and you need to call 911 and you need to evacuate. That's a good protocol when you're dealing with natural gas. But the emergency responders arrived on scene and they're looking around and they do smell something, but they don't smell natural gas. And they're in the garage and they're asking her about her stove and her hot water heater and, all those things that sometimes use natural gas. And she tells them, oh no, I'm all electric. Wait a minute. You called about a possible gas leak. She says, well, I smell gas. And they're like, okay. And they've got these little sensors, and their sensors are picking up nothing, So, turns out what she was smelling was a gas can full of gasoline in her garage for the lawnmower. So, I'm glad they straightened that out for her, but it was definitely not a regular gas leak. That was just and that's not the only call they've gotten before where people will call in gas leaks and then tell them that they're all electric. But I guess that is a situation of better be safe than sorry. And please don't think I'm discouraging anyone from calling 911 because I'm not. If you feel like you have an emergency, then you have an emergency. I do believe that because there is no pain in the world worse than my pain. And that's because it's my pain. And it's like that with anybody. Everything is about perception. So, I would dare never say don't because something could seriously be wrong. But it is kind of interesting sometimes to hear about the different kind of calls that they get. And one of the most frustrating, I think, for the guys and girls that do this, is when it's the middle of the night, and a lot of people don't understand. People work 24-hour shifts. What sleep they have to get on shift. They can't sleep during the day. There's rules against that. They have different training that they have to do, things like that. They're generally not allowed to lay down until about 9 o'clock at night, unless maybe it's a weekend and they're a little more lax during the weekend. But, they settle down at night and try to get a little bit of sleep too, and some people don't realize that that's the kind of schedules these guys keep. But people will call 911 and it's the middle of the night, and these poor guys and girls are having to wake up and go out to these calls. And when they get there, a lot of times they'll go ahead and bring a stretcher in, because it's kind of implied, I guess. And they'll have people, why are you bringing a stretcher in here? Well, you dial 911. You need to go to the hospital. I wasn't planning on going to the hospital. Why are you calling 911? It's just frustrating. And I get it. Some people will have like chest pains and things like that. And by the time you get out there, the chest pains have stopped. They've realized that it's just indigestion or something like that. And no, I think it's great that those people say, no, I'm sorry. But there was one call I heard about, and the lady did have some COPD issues, and they get calls to her house a good bit. And when they got out there, it was, well, why are you bringing her daughters? Like, why are you bringing in a stretcher? Well, you called or whatever, and it's like I said, it's 2:30 in the morning. It seems to be the target number. And the daughter's like, oh, no. she just gets like this sometimes. And I mean, they checked her oxygen levels. It was 97, 98%, which is great for a person with COPD. And they're like, well, you know, when she gets like this, you know, they usually just sit with her until it passes. And what it is she gets anxious and has a little bit of a panic issue when she thinks that she can't breathe or that she's having a hard time breathing. And they didn't want to go to the hospital. They just needed the paramedics to sit there and calm her down at 2:30 in the morning. We are almost done with this. And I just straight colored with my gel pens. I just haven't really used them in a while, and I was like, hey, you know, I haven't colored anything in Johanna's Christmas lately. I have 2 copies of this. One copy I use, like if I want to use markers or something, I'll just go ahead and throw the markers in it anyway. But, yeah, I just thought it'd be a lot of fun to do that. And just throw some gel pens down. And I was like, let's do a video, do a color and chat. Spend some time together. And like I said, I will leave links to the AEN Art gel pens. AEN Art. Oh, that's opaque. That is not. Oh. There, lighten it up a little. This one's very opaque. It's almost like a metallic. Oh, I'm off camera again. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to keep it zoomed in so you guys can see too. And, you know, because I had someone ask if I could zoom in so they could see the coloring better. But I keep forgetting that I need to be looking up and making sure that I'm still in frame. Yeah, you know, I just was like, yeah, you know, I can pull the camera up and I can show them the AEN Arts gel pens and just lay some gel pens down. Most of my gel pens are in, like those lunchbox that zip up or whatever. I've just got them all tossed down in there. I have a few packs from where these AEN Arts were on sale that I had purchased. So I did this one pack where I could have it, you know, swatched out. I wish I would have thought of that before I dumped all my gel pens into piles, because they're kind of hard. You know, most gel pens really don't give you color names and all that kind of stuff. So, but I didn't think about that before. So this will work for now. And then I'll still pull out the other gel pens, but maybe not when I'm on camera. It's probably easier to use the ones that I have swatched out, unless I've planned in advance. And since you can, you know, rebuy these packs, I don't know that AEN Arts has refills per se, but if they're on sale, I mean, it's a steal just to rebuy, you know, the pens, honestly. But, thank Donna. Sorry. Yeah, so if you have a backup pack, as, you know, colors start to run out, what you can do, if you have it swatched out, I'm going to be popping these back in, so excuse me. If you do have them swatched out, you can just take the new pen that you need and replace it in the pack that you've got all swatched out. from your others, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So you've always got the pack, since they're, and they do come in, I mean, these packs are not the best quality packaging, but it works well. It's, you can actually swatch them out. So I think I'll start to keep my gel pens in packaging that comes like this, in the packaging, and just try to fix them up so they're swatched, so they're easy to get to. That's what I think I'm going to do in the future. Because I do like to be able, I really do like to be able to look at swatches and see what I'm going to get. So, let me go ahead and, sorry, wrong direction. Go ahead and zoom out on that while I'm putting these pins up. That way you're not all zoomed in. So I am done with this picture. It's just straight colored, but it is colored, and in the future I think I will try to start picking out colors before I'm on camera. I'm not, apparently I am not good at that at all. I don't do well under pressure. But, you know, this is Johanna's Christmas. It's a great little book. When she did this book, this side is, you know, really, really light. So if you didn't want to use markers or anything, it would bleed through, of course, but it's only ruining like a wallpaper type thing, and each one of them are like that. And these are, again, the AEN Art gel pens, and I have them all swatched out. These are the glitters. And I will leave a link to these in the description of the video in case you guys might be interested in those. I have become an Amazon affiliate, so if you purchase anything through links that I provide, I will get a very, very tiny percent off of that, and any money that is made from my links, I will put them right back into the channel, whether it be for supplies to test, or maybe, hopefully at some point, if enough is coming in, we can even do, I can purchase things for giveaways from that, and things like that. So that would be great. So I will actually leave a link to Johanna's Christmas, as well as the AEN Art gel pens, in case you guys are interested in those. And I hope you guys have a wonderful morning, day, evening, night, whatever time it is where you are. And I will see you guys next time. And until then, peace, love, and happy coloring. Bye, guys.